Hi, welcome along. This is going to be a Siemens 1200 setup guide. So from your software being opened, you'll be in this particular window here. We're going to create a brand new project from the start. So create new project, we'll give it a name of Portal 1200 setup or something similar. Obviously you name it as you so wish. The pathway for this will be default to the documents on my machine and automation. You can obviously choose to pick wherever you so wish to have it. You've got any folders you so wish to have. Your OneDrive location, your PC itself, or any networks. Pen drives obviously included too. I'll leave mine by default where it is. I'm currently running version 19 of Portal, and that's what we're going to be utilizing. Author name you can change, it just defaults to whatever you're signed in as. So for instance, if you're using the machines in this particular room, it's going to say student, and obviously myself, I'm signed into my personal laptop, so it says my own name. Comments if you so wish to add about what the project pertains to, which may be of help later on, and obviously then hit create. In the initial steps, what you're prompted to do is configure a device. For the 1200s, they seem to have an error in being able to recognize an unconfigured device. We need to actually tell it what we have. So brand new project, so all devices currently shown is completely empty. We need to add a new device. This basically takes you to your catalog, of which there are quite a lot of parts. So we need the Siemens S7 1200 CPU. The ones we have in this room are the 1214C AC/DC RLY, which is the relay version of outputs. There are three options inside that, and the particular model that we have is the 1BG31. And once you have that selected, you click Add. At this particular bit, there is only one more section to add, which is a signal board. We need to select the part that is plugged into here. You get that from your hardware catalog on the right hand side. So signal boards, there only is one option really available here for what we need. It's under AQ, which is an analog output. It's a 1 by 12 bit analog output, and you see here you can either double click to the space or drag and drop over to here and double click, and you see it gets added in. You can zoom in and see slightly more detail. Just getting these out of the way for the second, the hardware catalog too. With the next bit we need to edit is going to be the IP address of the machine. So this is going to be your target address, as in which PLC you want to go and effectively talk to. By double clicking on your CPU, it brings up your menu at the bottom. By default, it usually will appear up in general. The bit you want is the Profinet interface, second one down, and then scroll down slightly and you'll see the IP address in the project. We want to change ours to 192.168.10. And then your last set of digits is whichever machine you want to connect to. The one I want to connect to is going to be the 10.10. It's one of the PLCs that's connected to one of the 4 conveyor rigs. Subnet mask, just leave it alone as is, and then there's no other settings you need to change in that particular part. So once you have that readied, you are effectively ready to download. So just to show you inside program blocks, all we have is the main OB1, and just for the sake of being able to show you something working live, all we'll do is we'll have a normally closed of the first input available, I0.0. We're not even going to bother with tags right now, and then it's just going to control an output of Q0.0. Again, we're not labeling tags, that'll be a separate video for all of that, but it's just to let you see something being operational. PLC tags will be down here, and you will see that the two that I've talked about have appeared in my tag table. So to download, once you have finished whatever programming you need to do, or in this case we are testing our setup, we click on the project name, the sort of darker emboldened section. You click on the compile button. Now for a 1200 it should be straight forward and you get 0 error, 0 warnings, certainly at this early stage. And then you click the download to device, the one beside it. Now it depends on your setup and your machine. You may have to change your settings here. Mine is an Ethernet connection, so I obviously select it, which is the hardware Ethernet connection I have to my network in this room. By default on the version 19 of this software, it will show devices with the same address. Now yours will be typically for the older machines is show all compatible devices, and if I hit start search at that, it should show me all available 1200 connected PLCs, to which there are 4 currently powered up, which is 10, 20, 30 and 40 on the IP address. As a last check, you highlight the one you so wish to have, click your flash LED, and then if you go and observe the PLC, the LEDs to do with the power section on the left hand side should be flashing. If you're happy enough with the one you selected, that the IP address matches the one you're going to, what you want to double check finally is just your IP address from your project matches the one you want to connect to, and then you press load. Now at this point, all it's really saying is the device is currently running, so in order to download we have to say yes, you're allowed to stop all modules, and then you press load. And once that finishes, once you hit finish, it will now reboot the PLC with the new installed software. So at this point here, I could, for this OB1, go on to monitor mode and see that this particular tag, which is I0.0, we're using are normally closed off, and the actual particular sensor that's connected to it happens to be active, hence why that's off. Now, unfortunately I'm too far away from it to actually operate it, but we see that the program's currently live. We see all the green sections down the left hand side, which showing you each bit that's currently up to date. Now if I make any changes to this, for instance if I go to my program blocks, I can expand this out just to see each individual part of it. If I go and add a section to it, like so, you instantly get notification that something is different to what you have in your project to what's currently in the machine running, and then you need to do an update. So for instance, if I go in and operate, let's go Q0.1, and I will have it normally open of, I'll just use the same as we did previously, I0.0. This is now out of date, that's why I've gone off monitor mode, and if I click the download button, I only need to update the bit I've currently changed. So I click load, and you see it all returns back to green, showing everything's up to date. And as you can now see, I0.0 with a normally open contact, the sensor on the machine is currently activating that, giving me a Q0.1 as an output. And we're obviously in monitor mode, able to observe everything. And that is the setup of the 1200 PLC.